Yesterday, we saw the launch of Night, the native token for Midnight Network, a privacy protocol on Cardano. And well, it did in some, depending on how you look at it, I think it did very well, all things considered, especially with the rebound in price it had earlier today. But it also is somewhat in line with how other privacy-based cryptocurrencies have been doing. We saw a massive rebound in the price of Zcash. We've also seen Monero growing and constantly trending higher. It really begs the question, is the privacy meta getting hot once again? There was a period of time where everything was going down except privacy cryptos. And are we at that point again? There's a lot to unpack in today's video, considering that there's only 3 weeks left in December, and more specifically, 3 weeks left in 2025. What you need to know, what you need to prepare for as we dive into this video. If you're new here, my name is Alex, talk about crypto news, crypto passive income. If you enjoy content like that, consider subscribing. You enjoyed this video, smash up the like. Without further ado, let's end the video. So as we take a look at the privacy meta, there's a few things that are kind of happening right now behind the scenes that is causing this price action within the likes of these cryptocurrencies. So for example, Midnight is up almost 87% in the last 24 hours. Now, mind you, we talked about Night. We've done several videos, especially when it came to the scavenger mine and how to mine Night. I've done this plenty of videos on this whole process, but for those who got in early enough, I myself mined about 23,000 Night tokens, about 23,500 or so, which at today's price, let me see here real quick. So 23,000, I think it's 23,360 times 0.077 is around $1,800. Now, all of this cost me $40, I would say, and that is on the high end. That was predominantly due to me renting VPS servers, which I should have done a lot earlier, because I would have probably mined, like, instead of 23,000, I would have mined like 500,000. But that is neither here nor there. The bigger question is, why is Night pumping? And more specifically, why we're seeing other privacy coins also pump? Well, I think people are looking at narratives while Bitcoin, when you look at Bitcoin's performance over the course of 2025, it is up about 1%. From January till now, in 12 months, Bitcoin is up about 1%. So people have been looking at what has pumped while Bitcoin's been a stable coin, right? And there's really two things that have pumped, that being meme coins as far as opportunities for greater than 2 to 3x returns. Meme coins and privacy coins have been the two bigger metas in 2025 that have had larger than life returns. And it's not necessarily privacy coins, that neobank coins, coins that allow you to off-ramp stable coins, use your stables as normal payment options. That's kind of been the whole case for 2025. So when you're taking a look at Night, a top tier privacy meta crypto on Cardano, it launched at $1 billion market cap, fully diluted valuation at about 1.8 billion. This was actually somewhat higher than I expected. Now, in my prior videos, I said that, well, I wouldn't say it's higher than I expected. I expected about 5 cents. And I was happy if it was at 1 cent. And in fact, we did go all the way down to, I think, about 3.5 cents. We started off, it got listed at 10 cents, I believe. And we've kind of made our way up and down a little bit. But either way, still phenomenal returns in the last 24 hours, a massive, massive rebound, even though there is going to be some sell pressure from people who got free allocations. Now, when you take a look at Night, there's not only been people who have been, who mined it or got airdropped Night, there's a lot of people converting their Cardano into Night. When you look at, this is not a It's not throwing shade at Cardano, but would you rather have something now? In fact, ADA price pumped about 10% after launch of Night. But when you have the opportunity to hold two different assets in your wallet, would you rather have one that has higher appreciation, higher upside, the likes of Night, that is in a meta that is gaining traction, that has a lot of attention, or in something like ADA, which has been rather stagnant, right? So when you have one wallet and you have the chance to hold Night or ADA, looks like a lot of your whales are choosing to hold Night. There's a lot more opportunity. There's a lot more upside, at least in my opinion. And so when you look at the growth, the attention, it's number one trending. It's been trending for, this is the second day straight. There's just a lot of really great things about the likes of ADA. Now, you're also going to have times like this where people are going to go on the far extreme and call for a $10 Night token, which is ludicrous. It's just stupid. Really, it is. I think there's a upside to the likes of Midnight going to a similar market cap to the likes of not necessarily like Zcash level, but I could see something to the likes of Dash, right? When you compare the upside, I think that's a low bar, low standard, but I think there's still plenty of upside, right? If you had the likes of Zcash, which is at a $6 billion market cap, 6.6 billion, Midnight at 1.2, that would mean you would need about a 5x in the price of Midnight token, which would get it to about 35 to 40 cents. If it was to be at the market cap of Zcash, that would be absolutely insane. So that's why I don't think a $10 Night token is realistic, and we live in reality. Even if it was to be surpassing the likes of Monero, that would only be about a 6x. So let's have some reality in the way that we look at things. I don't think we're going to see a $10 Night. I think we could maybe see 20 to 30 cent. And I think I don't see how Night surpasses right now. I don't see how Night surpasses Monero or the likes of Zcash. But there's still some upside, right? If you're looking at some of these, and obviously a lot of excitement, it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of levels out. In the end, I mean, when you take a look at this, it launched, this chart is not anywhere realistic because this would mean it launched at a $24 billion market cap. I don't think that was the case at all. Most exchanges had it listing at around 10 to 11 cents. So if it goes to $1, I would be extremely surprised. I'd be happy, but I would be extremely surprised. But I think 10 cents is very reasonable. That would give it a market cap of about 1.65 billion. Very, very reasonable, very doable. And I think this was probably one of the reasons why we've seen a pump in a lot of these other privacy-based cryptocurrencies. So when you take a look at Monero, for example, Monero is breaking out simply, I think, more from a technical analysis standpoint. It is looking really, really good. Monero, in fact, up almost 4% in the last 24 hours. You look at it from a this basis here. I mean, it was at 361. It's done quite well. Not maybe necessarily up as much over the past month, but you can see just looking very, very good as far as coming up to some of these resistance levels. And this is what I really want to show is you can just kind of see this is a general, this is on a daily chart. This is a general kind of curve upwards, right? And I think this is what is leading some of this excitement for the likes of Monero. And the main thing is, you know, we peaked up here at 472. Now, mind you, if I move myself over, this is on the 8th of November. So about a month ago, we peaked about 472. And I think very realistically, you know, when you look at the rebound, you know, the retracement that you had with Zcash, which we're going to look at in a second, Monero didn't have the same level of retracement, but it's also not pumped as much as Zcash. So, you know, realistically, when people are looking at privacy coins that have corrected just a little bit, not too much, and they want to have lower risk and maybe potentially lower reward, but definitely lower risk, having Monero as a privacy coin has that type of middle ground approach for a lot of people, right? Zcash is very, very volatile. Monero, not so much. It's just kind of like the little train that could, or the little engine that could, and is just slowly chugging its way upwards, slowly trenching upwards. And I think that's what gets a lot of people excited. It also doesn't have its major breakout moment. This was kind of like just a spike, but realistically, this is where it's seen resistance two times here. It didn't quite go up here, but this already met resistance here at about 437. Really, past $520, there's not going to be much resistance trending all the way back to 2019. So there's a lot of hopium in the XMR chart of this going higher and having a breakout similar to what we saw with the likes of Zcash, which kind of brings us talking about Zcash. Zcash, people are looking at Zcash simply from the fact that it has sold off and people are looking for good entry, right? I mean, obviously this is a massive, massive pump from, back here at $40 all the way to $800 on some exchanges. I did see it as high as 800. But here you go, right? It is down. Let's just see here. Correction wise, right? Currently down about 45%, right? So people are looking at where is this long-term resistance? Where's this support going to be? Right now, that support is sitting at this level of, I think, what is this? I think it was the 200-day. Yeah, so this is sitting at the 100-day exponential moving average. So right now, we're seeing this support at the 100-day exponential moving average on the daily basis, right? Are we going to slowly make our way up and retest this? Because eventually what I could see happen if we pull this out, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think what we could see happen for the likes of Zcash is we could see maybe a slow trend upwards, a bit of a cup forming right here. And then we're going to see resistance, and then a breakout. And I think something like that could be very, very possible. We're seeing that already happen with the likes of Monero, right? I think what Zcash is in right now is Zcash is in this stage right here, right? It had its massive peak. It corrected. We're going to see where that support is, and then we're going to slowly build upwards, and then boom, we're going to break out. And I think that is where right now Zcash is at. And I think people are looking for that entry opportunity where they see that support, but they also have to realize Zcash is a lot more volatile compared to likes of XMR. So I think there's a lot of people still very, very bullish on the likes of Zcash. A lot of people still calling for $1,000 Zcash, higher numbers for the likes of Zcash. I think it's very doable. A lot of it is going to be based on the bigger macro factors, considering that we are in the end of 2025. 2026 is around the corner. And for a large portion of the crypto community that sees Bitcoin right now still in a 4-year cycle, consider 2025 to kind of be the end of that 4-year cycle, and 2026 to begin the downward trajectory. That is where a significant portion, I would say, of crypto is right now. I don't think anything has yet changed anyone's minds yet to consider that there is going to be a super cycle, or that 2026 is going to be a bigger year than 2025, which, mind you, it doesn't take a whole lot. Bitcoin only went up 1% in 2025. It wouldn't take a whole lot for 2026 to be better than 2025. So either way, I think when you look at this, people are going to start as crypto overall, even when you just look at sentiment, right? This is not just talking about Bitcoin. When you look at the entire market sentiment right now, the market sentiment is not bullish, right? Fear and greed is sitting at 30. We are not in a greedy market. We're slightly better than where we were right down here when Bitcoin was at like 86,000. We're at 15 down here. So we're definitely a lot better, but we're not at a time where people are overly greedy. So people are going to start choosing their options a lot more. They're going to be doing a lot more research about what they get into, or they're simply going to exit. Something really has to show people right now, regardless of what cryptocurrency it is, something has to be unique. Something has to be extremely special for people to take that risk, because right now everything is just being pulled down equally. Bitcoin goes down, everything else is being pushed down equally. And there's only going to be these small little outliers that are unique enough, that are different enough to set themselves apart. And this kind of brings me to talk about two projects real quick. We're not going to dive into them in today's video. But for example, Stable recently launched this was as of the 8th of December, 2 days ago, their layer 1, their first USDT native layer 1 for high volume, predictable real world settlement. So Stable Mainnet went live 2 days ago. We talked about Avishi. Avishi is a neobank crypto project. We talked about this one at 35 cents. It's done at 10x. So there's unique projects very small niche type of projects that are going to be the ones that are going to be winners. It's going to be harder for those who remember what 2022 was like, what 2023 was like. It was very, very hard to find the winners. In a bull market, there's a term that like everyone's a genius in bull market because you literally can throw money at anything. It will stick and you'll make money. It's just really, you could do that. We're entering a phase in crypto where you choosing your winners is going to be very, very difficult, and you're having to do a lot of research in finding what metas are popular, which cryptos are doing well. And I think that is simply where we are starting to enter. And it's going to be few ones far in between here and there. They're going to do well. Avicii did well. Knight, those who got into mining Knight early on, you guys did well as well. So either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we're trending towards the end of 2025. Do you see 2026 being bullish? Do you see a big year happening? Do you see this privacy meta continuing to stay around, or do you think we're going to really, really cool down? Everything is going to go back a little bit more to earth. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like. Enjoy content like this, consider subscribing. Until next time, guys, stay invested.